everyone, I'm Arthel Neville, along with Joey Jones, Kaylee McGee-White, and Joe Concha, and welcome to the Big Weekend Show. The big story tonight is to recede in Kerr County, Texas. As the death toll rises to 68, there are still 10 campers and 1 counselor missing from Camp Mystic. President Trump just spoke about the tragedy.
Just say this is a 100-year catastrophe. And it's just so horrible to watch.
Are you planning to visit Texas, Mr. President?
Probably on Friday.
Governor Abbott spoke earlier and proclaimed today to be a national day of prayer.
We continue 24/7 operations to search for anybody who was affected by that deadly storm. We also intensify our focus on the families affected by this. They're going through horrific events that have turned their lives upside down.
Indeed, Governor, and authorities say they have rescued at least 850 people so far. The stories coming out of this tragedy are absolutely heartbreaking, but also heroic, like that of the Jeter family who saved a woman who traveled 20 miles hanging onto a tree.
I was able to look across the river into the tree, and I spotted her. So I began to call out to her and tell her that I see her. I got you.
About it, you just did what you needed to do to help them get into the water to save this young lady that's clinging to life in a tree.
Joining us live from Kerr County is Fox News senior correspondent Mike Tobin with the very latest. Mike?
And Arthel, a few things that the people here in Kerrville don't want. There's thunder and rain clouds overhead, and a new flash flood warning has just gone into effect about an hour ago. The information to that is there's been a lot of rain to the north and west of here that's been collecting in the North Fork of the Guadalupe River. That formed what people are describing as a wall of water that has been pushing in this direction. Some eyewitnesses say it's already past the town of Hunt, which is about 20 miles from here. Police came to this area and started moving everyone away from the banks of the river out of really an abundance of caution. There are some workers behind me right now, which is a bit puzzling because they evacuated this area. But this flash flood watch now will remain in effect until 7:30 local time. There have, as you mentioned, been some 850 rescues. Some of them are as simple as 4x4s going into areas that were difficult to reach and piling people in vehicles and getting them out. Some of them are much more sophisticated. You've got the Coast Guard Dolphin helicopters out here who can extend a cable down and pluck people from flooded houses. That has taken place as well. Now, throughout the day, some 400 searchers have really been doing hard work. It's hot out here. There are bugs everywhere, and they are going on foot on both sides of the river, over the banks, through all of this debris. In some cases, they climb underneath the debris to see if anyone is trapped down there. They've got out the saws. They're cutting the debris away. There are also divers who are in the river itself. The river is all churned up. It's muddy. You can't see. So the way the divers are working is they feel along with their hands to see if there's anything or anyone in that river. Governor Abbott took note of the work those searchers are doing today.
This is tough work. It's hot. They're in the mud. They're removing debris. There's snakes. There's water moccasins. This is God's work that they're doing. Top priority is the family and the victims. Pray for them, but throw our first responders in there.
And in the area of Camp Mystic, first responders were evacuated just a short time ago. And Camp Mystic is the camp from which originally 27 girls mostly went missing. They now say that there are 11, including a camp counselor, who are missing. And sadly, that means the parents of 16 little girls got the notification that a positive identification was made, and their worst nightmares have come true.
Oh,
Arthel?
Oh, my gosh. And Mike, you just said the weather is not letting up. So how confident are officials, in locating the remaining missing girls? I mean, is there a time frame, again, given that the weather is just not letting up?
Well, it seems that the searchers aren't out right now, but the word we have through all the official channels is that they're not going to give up until the job is done. They have a rough idea now of 47 people who are still missing total from across the state, which is a difficult number to come up with because you have so many people who did their weekend getaways for the holiday weekend out here, and it's just hard to really determine who is missing at this point because you don't have a hard, fast number who showed up in this area.
Hey, Mike, it's Joe Concha. Walk us through the logistics of this search. How many officials are there on the ground approximately? Are they using helicopters and drones as well to make this search more complete?
Now, all of the above. You got 400 searchers on foot from 20 different agencies, and they are assisted by 20 dogs. And what they're doing is not really sophisticated. They're walking along the banks of the river. If there's a pile of debris, I watched a guy just go head first into the pile of debris, search around underneath to see if someone was trapped underneath there. They're simply picking up things and looking at it to see if they can find any victims.
Mike, we're able to get just a glimpse of the devastation behind you. If the weather gets worse, how is it going to impact the search and rescue operation? And what are the conditions on the ground like now? How are they affecting the current search and rescue?
Well, the current search and rescue is impacted by the fact that you've got another flash flood warning in effect. So you have to get everyone away from the banks of the river. The banks of the river, of course, if you've got any victims, that's where they're going to be. So it certainly complicates things and out of safety. There's a helicopter going overhead right now, so the helicopters can keep on searching. We're trying to see what materializes out of this reported wall of water that's supposed to be working its way in this direction. It could very well spread out as it works its way down the river, but you're going to be cautious at a time like this.
Mike, we're following a story of two girls that were found in a tree, miles away from Camp Mystic. Do we have is there any confirmation as to where they went missing from, or that from your reporting, it seems like they are not two of the 27?
I don't have the information on that one.
Okay.
We're trying to run that down, but I just don't have it yet.
All right.
All right, Mike Tobin there live in Texas. Thank you so much, Mike. And it did not take, thanks, Mike, it didn't take long for Democrats to politicize this tragedy and blame President Trump.
As the Trump administration is making deep cuts to weather forecasting services, how concerned are you in light of this?
We are going to have to figure out what happened, why did it happen, and the question of readiness is certainly something that Congress should be able to explore.
We have to look at the impact of the DOGE Trump cuts on the National Weather Service.
And the executive editor of left-wing media group Occupy Democrats went even further, blaming Trump's spending cuts for the death and destruction. But an official from the National Weather Service Employees Union is debunking that claim, saying that forecasting offices were adequately staffed ahead of the storm. And now the White House is blasting the left for making this political, calling their comments shameful and disgusting, while President Trump has already signed a major disaster declaration for Kerr County, giving local officials and first responders all the help they need. And, guys, I'll start here with you, Joey. There's a lot of talk that's going on. I want to say, before we start our discussion here, let's make sure that we keep these parents in mind.
No,
I mean, you're a parent, you're soon to be, and Joe, I'm not sure if you're a parent or not, but you don't.
2 young children.
You are, and I'm the only one who's not a parent here, but you don't have to be a parent to have compassion and feel for these people. And because you understand full well what they're going through in a way. And so let's make sure that we're mindful of that while we cover this story and keep our prayers going for these families who are suffering, and for the first responders who are working so diligently to find hopefully some people who are still with us. And that said, Joey, just, look, there's this blame game that happens all the time when things like this happen. First of all, you can't tame Mother Nature, but maybe, perhaps, is this a time if to focus on infrastructure to make sure that, you know, perhaps there's cell phone coverage everywhere in the country, so that even though I understand that the Mystic camp, they don't allow cell phones, but, you know, maybe the counselors are there. I'm not sure what their rules are, but I don't know. My point is, what's a way to get some positive reaction from this?
The first reaction is the point you made. Keep the parents in mind. This is about them. This is about the loss, the sadness, the tragedy. I agree 100%, which makes that montage we played really puzzling to me. I'll keep the mean words out of it. I'm not going to call names. I'm just going to say it is puzzling to me that your reaction in this type of tragedy and natural disaster is to find a political and partisan angle. I don't understand that. To go back to what happened, it's way too early to know. I covered this story extensively last night and this morning, and from what I understand, this water rose, the majority of the 29.5 feet in Hunt, Texas, happened in 45 minutes. There was one, I believe, 18 a.m. Flash flood, 5 to 7 inches was at 1 p.m. the day before. Hey, 5 to 7 inches flash flood warning. I live on a river. If you tell me there's 5 to 7 inches, I'm not worried about it. It wasn't until 1 a.m. that there was a warning that said this is an emergency, and I don't know that it said evacuate. It just said it's gotten worse. And by 4:45 a.m., it was 29 feet higher. I don't know that there is an infrastructure that fixes that.
Yeah, Kaylee, what do you have to say about this?
Well, Texas Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick joined us yesterday, and we asked him if there were concrete steps that the Texas government could have taken to make sure that those alerts had gotten out sooner. And he made it very clear that Texas would be investigating to the fullest extent to make sure that any loopholes are closed. So we can be confident that both the federal and state government will do what needs to be done to address this in future situations. But I agree, when you're talking about 26 feet of water in 45 minutes, there is simply no way to prepare for that. It is a tragedy, and those politicizing it ought to be ashamed of themselves.
And Joe, again, we cannot tame Mother Nature at all. But one of my takeaways from the press conference that Governor Abbott held with the officials there, of course, they're very sober, but they also seem very measured in terms of, okay, this unfortunate tragedy happened. We are going to see if there's what we can do to prevent something in the future. Of course, it doesn't help, again, those grieving parents now, but they seem to just go right into action.
Yeah, what we'd like to see at least is the antiquated National Weather Service warnings actually be updated. That would be a good first start. But to both Joey's point and Kelly's point, there were flood warnings 12 hours before this happened. There were flash flood warnings 3 hours before it happened. We keep seeing on other networks talking about how there wasn't the proper staffing at the National Weather Service in that area. They actually had twice as many staffers on as they normally would. So again, if you're going to try to find blame and in the name of accountability, well, at least get your facts right. And at this point, like we see so often, especially in a world of social media, there's a lot of information out there that is not accurate. But 12 hours, 3 hours as far as flash flood warnings, twice as many staffers, those are the facts. And if this still happened, well, unfortunately, then we have to find a better way to get warnings out to camps where they don't have cell phones, for example.
Yes. And again, let's come together. This is a horrible tragedy.
Indeed.
And listen, you, of course, can join Fox's support of the recovery efforts following this devastating flooding in Texas by going to this website. Go to Fox/Texas TX Flood Relief. And of course, your donations will support the community foundation of the Texas Hill Country's relief and rebuilding efforts.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.